Welcome back to the quaint island of Elba. We have expanded in the last episode over into this corner. However, we're not gonna expand into this in this episode right now. I think it is high time that we're focusing on placing our harbor to round out this area and make it feel a little bit more well-structured. So for a harbor, we do need a bit more money. I think it's another $200,000 or simoleon or whatever they're called. So we will need to work a little bit on that, or kind of wait a little bit. But we're not just gonna sit around and wait. Instead, there are a couple of fixes that I want to start out with, and one is actually our mining facilities right here. While they look okay, they could be made a little bit more realistic, and we're gonna start working on that right away. Alright, and I figured instead of telling you guys what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna show you right away. Instead of having just the entire area painted into the side of the mountain, this way it actually looks like we have dug into the mountain and started taking out significant chunks of it. So I think overall this looks a little bit better, a little bit maybe more realistic, as you would kind of expect to see things like this when walking past the dig site. So I'm just gonna flatten out a little bit more over here, and I'm going to make sure that we're also smoothing out some of the edges, not all of them, because again, I think overall it gives the area a little bit more, well, appeal, a little bit more realism, where you could imagine that your vehicle's actually driving up this side of the hill and then splitting off at individual layers of the mountain. I think, like I said, looks a lot more realistic. I hope you guys agree. This is where I wish my channel was a little bit bigger so I could actually interact with you guys and get your feedback directly. But overall, you know, I think it is reasonable what I've done over here. Right now I'm just expanding a little bit the area, kind of trying to smooth out some more of these corners and make sure that this ramp in here is actually inside of the mining area. Now that has unfortunately destroyed one of our industry buildings, and I think very soon I just need to turn off snapping. But actually this kind of works. Nope, it does not. So let me turn this off, expand this out a little bit, and I'm gonna do the same over here. Again, just to make sure that this ramp that I've created, and I know it is hard to see based on this particular surface, but there is a ramp up there, and that this part here is just part of the entire mining facility. This is in part where I wish I had anarchy to just place the road basically that moves up there, just to make it a little bit more clear, or maybe not a dirt road, but one of these roads, or at least create some sort of tire tracks basically that would allow me to show this a little bit better. Still have a little bit of jankiness in here, so I'm trying to just smooth this out a little bit more. By smoothing out, I mean flattening it out, and completely destroyed the upper part, but I guess that is okay. But again, overall, I think this looks much more realistic. And now I'm gonna do the exact same thing with our stone mine and our ore mine up here. All right, and with that, we are done with sort of beautifying this area. Don't know if I should call it beautifying, but it kind of works. It does look a bit more realistic. However, you only really see it when you place the camera properly. So if I place it like this, it looks great. If I look at it like this, it looks a little bit funky. You can kind of still tell. Same with this, right? Definitely looks nice when I look up front onto it, but if I just look at it kind of like this, actually it's not too bad. Maybe the moon is just standing properly, or like this here. Much better when you're like flatter down, you kind of see the plateaus going in and the ramps up, but as you zoom out, it just looks a lot more flat. All right, anyways, it was a good amount of grading and stuff, so I'm not gonna complain. Overall, I think it looks pretty nice. So the next thing that I want to do is call a little mulligan on the housing along the pedestrian path right here. I think on the city side, this would be perfect for mixed-use housing, as it will provide shops at the bottom, such as cafes and things like this. So overall, I think much better use than currently these French buildings that face towards the river with their back. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm really hoping that if I just tell it that I don't want the zoning on this street, so place this road basically here and let it spawn back in, I hope that we get the buildings on the right side. So let's not zone it all in completely, but let's go maybe with a 3 wide building. And of course this one is facing at the corner, which, you know, I'm not too upset about. So let's see, it's actually just 2 wide, but this is facing the wrong road. So what I am going to do for now is actually delete this one, and then we're gonna have it spawn back in, and then I'm gonna place the road back in. So this looks much better now. Again, like a 3 wide unit, perfect. And then we can place our regular road down that street, and the buildings stay where they should. Excellent. Now I'm a bit worried about this part, because I kind of need to do the same thing, but if I do, I'm thinking these buildings will disappear. So let's actually first have a look in which direction, and of course it is the wrong direction. So I'm gonna pause. Sorry guys, I'm gonna delete the road. Maybe we can actually do it like this. What if I place a temporary 1-lane road here, keep them kind of in there, and then place a few more of our buildings in this direction. And that actually seems to be working. Because now I can go into my road network and just upgrade this to the regular road that it was before. Beautiful. So as they are spawning in, I think this will make a ton more sense. So I'm gonna follow the river, because we also have the demand right now, at least a little bit of it. I'm gonna do this a little bit all over the place. So I'll be right back. Right, and with that, I am actually going to leave it. So some of these look a little bit disconnected, and I think maybe we should actually just remove these houses. Although we do have another spot available here. Perfect. So we're gonna use sort of these empty spots and just do a little bit more landscaping like I did over here, just to fill it out and, you know, make it look a little bit better. So give me a second. All right, there we go. As things progress, I think we're gonna replace some of these too. They do feel a little bit out of place now on the back of these relatively high rises, so to speak. But yeah, maybe we don't need to, although we do have the demand. So yeah, give me a second. All right, this looks much better, I think. I like this little park area, even though it doesn't quite serve a purpose. I wish it would, but, you know, for now, happy to just build it like that. All right, we are still making money. So probably still a little bit longer before we can place our harbor. But you know what? Let's actually try to figure out where it's gonna go. So I think this road that, you know, swerves around for no particular reason, that will need to go. But otherwise, our regular passenger harbor will, I think, go on this street right here. And once we have replaced this to line up with the harbor, I think all of the entire area here will just come much closer together, much better together. So there will be a few more things that we're going to place over here, especially from our signature buildings. So we'll have to have a look at some point. Just need to... the Villa Antica. We should definitely place this. Milestone 8 and 10 sound pretty good. We do have the Espresso to go still, the Canopy Cafe, and the Gelato. Now that we might be able to place right away. Because that I could see... Nah, you know what? Let's first place the harbor and then take it from there. So let's go into our development points under transportation, water, and then just unlock it. We have 23 development points, meaning, yeah, no harm done just by unlocking this. Later on, I think we're also going to look into unlocking some of these, maybe even the entire range to get some tourists into our city already. But we'll definitely see how this goes. Quick check on our people. The internet service is still like an issue, but that is fair enough. So let's not worry about this too much. Now let's have a look into our harbor. We're not quite there for paying for it yet, but we can see how much space it actually occupies. And this is what I thought. It actually fits into this corner here perfectly. Now this almost lines up with our 2-lane road that comes out of here, and I think that is actually exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this road right here, and for now I'm just going to disconnect this part. There's still a pathway in, so I'm not too worried about doing that. And then we're going to set our 2-lane road, maybe actually directly... sorry, not 2-lane road. This is a 2-lane one-way road that I guess we could consider putting in as a simple 2-lane road, but maybe something a little bit bigger might make sense. And if we kind of place it in here, we could even expand that road here to, well, basically just make it bigger. Alternatively, we could also still leave it at this one. But you know, that seems actually like a pretty nice angle. In all honesty, so we're just gonna do that. Need to make sure I'm kind of hitting the center of this, and I am struggling. So let me unlock the snap to zoning cell length. And with that, we were able to do so. And we're gonna place it, yeah, it won't be quite a 45-degree angle in order to get into here, because we want to end up somewhere along the lines of here. Now, the next part that we want to do is a curved end, kind of going from the center of this road, just down. Whoa, it does not like that. So let me remove you. And then try this again. So from the center, we're just gonna expand out and then curve into that part of the road. Now, one side is already connected, for whatever reason. So I am going to actually pause for a second, delete these roads, make sure that the connection into this, yeah, let me do this again. You know what might actually make the most sense? A roundabout. I think it does. So we're gonna put the roads back in as they were. One-way road over here, just like, actually we don't need that connection then. So let me undo this again. Good thing I can do and undo this a couple times. All right, so we're trying to place this right in the middle. And this will be our roundabout. Gonna make it small roundabout, I think is fine. A little bush in the middle, maybe. That looks nice. All right. So here we go. Now we have made this connection, which means we also want to make sure we have this part that kind of goes in. So we're going to expand until it snaps and then just move it over, kind of leave it in place. From that same position, we're going to go out and connect this up here. And all of a sudden, this actually looks pretty decent, I would say, and these are all fully connected. In addition, these 2-lane roads that we had over here, we're just going to turn into 1-lanes and bring them over just like that. And then we're going to deal with some of the pedestrian crossings that we have here. They don't all need to be in there. I think that overall looks pretty good. We're connected over here, we're connected over here. We have lost some buildings. Not entirely sure why. I don't want to lose buildings. We just needed to zone this back in. Now this actually has been messed up though. Alright, so remove you, and the connection in there. So go back into our 1-lane road. Make sure that connection is straight all the way to the end. And then bring this back in here. Okay. And all we need to do now is hopefully zone it back in. And here we go. No buildings lost. I do appreciate that. And now we just need to connect this up again. It kind of worked here. It didn't quite work here. Makes me think maybe we should fix that on this side. You know what, while we're at it. All right, here we go. Now, need to fix the zoning again. There it is. And this way it looks kind of okay. I think so, at least. Going to unpause the game. And now, like we did before, we're just gonna deal with some of the pedestrian crossings right here. They don't need to cross right in front of the roundabout. So overall, I think that looks pretty reasonable. All right. The next thing we need to do is we need to expand the soil, the land area over here a little bit. Unfortunately, but I think to get a harbor in, I see them definitely doing that. So let's do that. Maybe just like this. The beautiful straight edge that was there, completely destroyed by me. It happens. Especially destroyed by me, that happens. All right. And now we're having another look at our harbor. Not enough money, but it is not complaining that it is placed in the water. However, our roundabout is causing issues. So let's go ahead and unfortunately delete you again. Go back to our 1-lane road. Make sure that it is kind of connecting in the middle. And then try to squeeze our roundabout a little bit more towards the right, in the hope that this will give us enough. Yep, now we don't have overlapping items unless we move much, much further to the right. But I think overall that looks pretty darn good. All right, this is quite a big street though. So unfortunately, we don't have a ton of space to have. I guess we could technically have the street go along up here. Turn this into a smaller street and have a secondary street go this way. Now that could actually look quite interesting. So why don't we give that a try? So starting from the center here, we have the curved road tool on. Go straight out until we see the guidelines and connect this up. And then we should also be able to reduce the size of this one. But we do have now two separate roads that basically connect our initial village or city area to our extended city area right here. So overall, I want to say not too bad. One of these goes around. It's a 2-lane roundabout. I wonder if that makes sense. But overall, I'm not too worried about it, in all honesty. However, we also have now enough money. Although I'm a bit worried that once we place this, we lose all of our profit. Still gonna give it a go. All right, here we go. Harbor is in. Still making money, so I do appreciate that. Narrow seaway. I think that is reasonable, although, what is this? Is this a median? This might have been a median seaway. No water? Not enough money. Interesting. Oh, I see. Has that actually extended it all the way over here? I think it did. All right. Good to know. I didn't know the harbor would do that. So what we are going to do is flatten this part out. So our ships, boats, whatever can actually make it inside. And same over here, just a little bit. I don't want to overdo it. And again, without being the expert in that area, I could kind of see them do that. Just to make sure that, you know, the harbor is properly connected. I'm surprised the sea road costs something. It's 20,000 per kilometer? Damn! Even that, just that tiny connection costs 20,000, and I need 2 of them. How much is the small one? 10,000. Still a lot. Holy cow. Alright, while we are making some more money before I can connect this up, I'm gonna go back in here and just decorate around a little bit, make it look prettier, and then we'll be right back. All right. I did just notice that, of course, as I'm placing trees, I'm spending money, so kind of a little bit counterproductive, but still making some money, still not quite as much, but overall not too bad. Our port, I think, is coming together, and I would love for this to turn into a beach, but I don't quite know how I'm actually going to make this. Surfaces, sand surface. Let's give that a try. That's actually pretty good. Let's actually delete this again. But we can turn this into a beach. Now, it is right in front of our passenger, like, fair pathway, but I think overall that's not too bad. And there we go. We got a little bit of a beach going. Still some edges. All right, and with that, we have a beach. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way of me getting some people in here, at least not in vanilla. Still not entirely sure about the palm trees, but, you know, for now, I think this will do. And I think with the two fountains here, and sort of that street kind of guiding everyone towards the beach, I think that will be pretty nice. In the meantime, we should have acquired enough money, hopefully, to place our medium seaway where ships can operate. Actually, I don't quite know what the real difference is, so let's put down the small seaway and then we can connect it just up on both sides. Let's see if we cannot turn this a little bit smoother into this part. And I kind of want to do the same for the other side. For now, I think that is good enough. Alright, and the next thing that we need to do is have a connection to the outside world. And we might even just do 2. One on this side. And one on this side. And with that, our city is connected. By boat, but still connected. I'm excited to see the first boat come in. So I wonder, let's have a quick look at a signature building that we might be able to still fit in. I guess we still haven't placed the gelato place. And let's actually place it just opposite the hospital, which is also then pretty close to our harbor. So if you're kind of on your way out of our beautiful little city, you can grab some ice cream or spend some time in the park here and then just wait for your boat and kind of just watch the ships kind of come in. Speaking of, I think it will be very nice to actually just connect this up a little bit with a pedestrian pathway that meanders around a little bit, so you could actually go and check out the boats while you're kind of sitting around waiting. Or not sitting around waiting. Or you're just walking around. Here we go. Whoa! No, don't. I just built it. That boat is super chill though. Why out of all the times a tornado now? Alright, it actually seems to be moving away, which I'm very happy about. There is one thing that we really need to do. It's actually look at the ship lines. Oh, some passengers on one of them. But I think the amount of vehicles is just way too high. I mean, look at how many ships are coming in and out. Yeah, I don't think so. So let's make sure both vehicles are set down to 1. Ticket price 8. I guess that's alright. Not entirely sure where things are going. I guess technically this would go to the mainland of Italy and this... France? Spain? I honestly don't know. Alright. Anyways, we do have the first public transportation. Let me double check. They actually made sure that the number of ships have been reduced. Yes. So, does this tell us where it's going? No. Let's send this one to... Ooh, what is actually just off the coast? Or like, well, not off the coast, on the coast of Italy. Alright, Google Maps. Italy. So this should go to Piombino. According to Google Maps. And the other direction... At least from, well, none of them go from here, to be honest. But... Forse. Okay, let's just... take some liberty. Forse. So this way we can also make sure that our ship line 1, which is... Is it this one? I just saw it. I think it was. Ship line 1. Yep. A few details. Was Elba. And then the other one was PMB. Sorry, Italian watchers. I probably butchered that name. Elba. Here we go. All right. And with that, we have some public transport in our city, and overall, I think it's doing pretty well. There's a lot more to do in the next one, but for now, we have some public transport, we have a beach, we have beautified our city, and we've worked hopefully a little bit on realism on our beautiful mining areas. All right, with that, I'm gonna thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.